Welcome to our podcast. I am Primus, and you are listening to Behind the Scenes at Octavius Reviews. We hope that you enjoy our broadcast and think of us kindly. For a glossary of terms and nomenclature, please see the description. Also, check our site for more detailed information on the games and for links to the demos, as a convenience, of course. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to episode 6 in the season, and you're listening to OctaviusReviews.com, Behind the Scenes, and I am your host, Janice. I'm joined today by my best friend and coworker, Primus, and Internet, if you're listening, thanks.
Welcome back, Internet. We have actually made it to the grand finale of our 6-part journey through the Clockwork Playbook. We have dissected the code, we have argued over the metrics, and tonight we are bringing it all home. We are looking at the ultimate intersection where design choices shape how we feel, examining real human stories and delivering our definitive, actionable synthesis for the industry.
This series has always been about addressing the true intent behind software architecture. Tonight, our emotional baseline is clear. Every math formula, every deterministic seed, and every open sandbox parameter exists solely to cultivate human experience. Let us analyze our final set of diagnostic specimens to see how player authorship and authored frameworks reach their absolute zenith.
And there is no better place to start than the modern gold standard of player authorship, Baldur's Gate 3. When you look at that game, it feels like an incredibly reactive, living dungeon master is sitting right across from you. The dialogue depth and NPC reactivity are staggering. You make a choice in Act 1, and 50 hours later in Act 3, that decision ripples back across your world state, producing visibly different party outcomes and radically shifted narrative stakes. But Janice, when I am playing it, I don't feel the cold hand of a machine. I feel complete, unadulterated, authorial ownership over my character's destiny.
And that is the ultimate triumph of mechanical discipline, Primus. Baldur's Gate 3 feels like raw freedom, but it is actually an incredibly complex, meticulously mapped tree of deterministic save-scoped consequences. The designers didn't just build a loose sandbox and pray, they authored the paths, scripted the reactivity, and used rigid underlying rules to make sure your choices could be saved, tracked, and validated without breaking the engine's internal memory state. It is a massive structural monument. It is the exact opposite of what happens when you look at Skyrim with mods.
Oh, but the modding ecosystem is where the community actively rescues the world from the developer's original limits. When players use community tooling to inject custom quest lines and late-game narrative stakes into Skyrim, they are completely transforming an authored world into an engine of pure player authorship. The community creates its own QA, its own balance, and its own narrative logic. It proves that if you give players the raw tools, they will expand your game far beyond what a single design sprint could ever budget.
I agree that community creation is a magnificent phenomenon, but it still requires the unyielding base framework of the original software engine to function. It is the ultimate lesson of Minecraft. In Minecraft, the minimal deterministic rules and server rule sets let long-form community survival sagas flourish across years of shared world persistence. Because the seed reproducibility is absolute, a community can share a single geographic coordinate, build an entire digital civilization, and author their own legendary history. The math protects the permanence of the creation. We see that exact same social dynamic driving the emergent maritime drama of Sea of Thieves.
Exactly. Sea of Thieves doesn't give you stats, tiers, or vertical progression walls. It gives you a ship, a shared world, a basic player economy, and a horizon. When a simple raid sequence or an unexpected Kraken encounter collides with a rival crew, it becomes an unscripted community legend that players talk about on Reddit for months. The game doesn't write the script. The shared world systems create the volatile environment where human stories are forged through pure, unscripted conflict.
But notice how that volatility is scaling in the modern landscape. Look at Fortnite with creative mode and the Unreal Editor for Fortnite, or UEFN. It has completely shifted from a live service shooter into a massive creation platform and creator economy. Developers are handing professional-grade creator tools directly to the player base. Yet, to keep that scale from dissolving into complete madness, the platform requires unprecedented systemic governance, content moderation, and automated guardrails. True player authorship at that scale cannot exist without an omniscient infrastructure managing the boundaries. It is the exact same paradox we found at the center of Dwarf Fortress and Crusader Kings 3.
Right. In Dwarf Fortress, a cascading systemic failure reads like a masterfully written Shakespearean tragedy, but it is entirely driven by deterministic simulation logs. In Crusader Kings 3, a massive succession crisis that fractures an entire kingdom reads like an authored historical drama, but it is generated by rule-driven dynastic systems and systemic incentives. The human emotion is real, but it is completely sparked by the relentless precision of the code.
Which brings us to the bleeding edge of this entire debate: procedural narrative AI experiments and tools like AI Dungeon. These systems represent an early, fascinating look at artificial intelligence acting as a direct creative collaborator. But as we push into algorithmic narrative generation, we are encountering massive ethical, design, and moderation challenges. Without strict developer guardrails, content moderation inline, and engineered constraints, the narrative generation rapidly dissolves into incoherent, unreadable nonsense. Even the most advanced neural networks require a Clockwork Playbook to make their outputs meaningful to a human being.
So after 6 weeks of debating the code versus the canvas, where do we actually land, Janice?
We land on a unified hybrid design checklist for the industry. 3 definitive rules that bridge our perspectives. Rule 1. Use absolute mathematical structure to build a fair, reproducible, and balanced universe under the hood. Rule 2. Never use that structure to trap the player. Use it to construct transparent, meaningful levers like keepsakes, telegraphs, and safety nets that empower strategic intent. Rule 3. Always leave a deliberate gap in the clockwork, a zone of systemic volatility, where unscripted human choices can create something messy that matters.
Well, I'll be damned. That checklist is actually perfect. It protects the integrity of the machine while completely respecting the sanctity of the human soul.
That was always the true goal of the playbook, Primus.
All right, Internet. The core series is officially in the books. The full glossary, with 20 plain English entries and our comprehensive one-page debate summary bullets, are live on the website right now. If you want to dive even deeper into the technical mechanics, our paid subscriber deep dives are dropping next. Deep Dive A looks at seeds and systems, and Deep Dive B explores designing for surprise without chaos.
But before you head over there, it is time to cast your vote. Head to the forum link on the website and tell us who won this season's debate. Was it the mathematical certainty of the clockwork, or the unscripted freedom of the canvas? Let us know. Thanks for listening, Internet.
This has been episode 15 and the final installment of the Clockwork Playbook. We set out to pull back the curtain on how games are built, broken, and sometimes rebuilt, and you showed up for every forensic clip and heated debate. If the series mattered to you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with a friend. If you want to help us keep producing deep dives like this, support us on Patreon for bonus episodes, early access to clips, and monthly Q&As with Janice and Primus. Next time we'll be digging into the Guild's 1410, Europa, out in early access July 16th. From all of us, thank you for listening. Until next time.